Man, welcome back to the Fake Stuff Podcast. Back at it again, doing what we do. Talking rookie wide receivers tonight. Go check out our last two episodes with running backs. Part one, part two. We did 10 running backs. Now we're about to do a few wide receivers. Craft man, what's going on, big dog?
Oh man, nothing much. Just getting home from work not too long ago. Got something smudged on my screen. Like I thought something was on my face. But yeah, man, just getting home from work. Seeing all the crazy shit that went on today. We're gonna mention that in another episode. But man, my phone was blowing up. Underdog was killing me. Every time it just kept going. And then it kept saying shit about baseball and basketball. And I'll be getting excited. I hear it beep. I go, oh, there it is. What's going on? And say like somebody's ruled out for the basketball game. I was like, no shit. They never play. So it was a crazy day though.
Yeah, heck yeah. Like Craftman said, we about to drop another episode. We're doing our first part of the rookie wide receivers right now. And then we finna talk about some of this news that went down because we got so many moving parts, so many quarterbacks. I think Swizzy gonna hop on that episode with us. But Craftman, I guess, what you call it? 5 wide receivers. We're gonna run through them pretty quick, like how we did last time. And we talked about what these classes were looking like. Running back strong, wide receiver weak. The 5 guys I watched today, I would say I liked 2 of them. Two of them that I thought were real good. And I thought they were all pretty good, to be honest with you. But what did you think about these guys?
I mean, I really did like them. There's not outside of Ted. I don't really think there's like a bona fide wide receiver one coming out of this class. But I mean, you can definitely see a case for the talent of some of these guys. They just don't like everything don't add up with all of them. Like one's a good route runner, but not crazy athletic. The other one's really athletic, and might need some time to develop. Like it's just they don't. It doesn't seem like all the receivers have everything, going for them and all the pieces together. Like it seemed like last year there was a lot of guys.
I would say at this point in time, I've seen probably every wide receiver be ranked number one. Like if you're scrolling through, reading what people are posting, I've probably seen every single one of them. Well, at least Tet, Luther Burden, and Buka, Golden. I mean, I've seen them. So I don't know. We're gonna kind of get into that talk right in a little bit. But anything you want to say before we just go to Tet McMillan?
Yeah, I was gonna ask like during the rookie draft, and we'll break down strategy another time. But like when you're doing your rookie draft, if you're needing a wide receiver like on your dynasty team, are you kind of reaching for one of these guys compared to like just say like the third running back in the class or something like that? Like I mean, Tet's probably gonna go early in your rookie drafts, but like just say Golden goes to a good spot, like you gonna reach for him over say a Marion Hampton or something, or are you gonna kind of stick with what's gonna you think is gonna work?
You know how it is. What you call it? I'm gonna roll with pretty much. I like to get the best player available, but to me, I think there's probably a few running backs. We're definitely gonna have to check out the draft and stuff like that. If there was like a player in, let's see, because me and you really ain't even been hopping on no rookie mocks and stuff like that right now. You know what I'm saying? So once we start viewing like where these tiers are and stuff, and I see a wide receiver, then maybe I can go towards needs and stuff like that. But to me, it feels like Tet would go like 102. There's probably a little bit of debate between Tet and Hampton.
In Superflex?
At the 102, 103. Or just like between them. I'm kind of thinking, hell, me, crap, man. My most important league's a one quarterback league. I've kind of looked at some of them, but but the quarterback class man week this year, it really ain't too much. Cam Ward will slide in there at some point, but I'm as far as like minus the quarterbacks and I guess tight ends, but like I would say Genty, clear, and then it's like I would say Tet would probably be 2, but I could see somebody going running back going Hampton at the 2.
Yeah.
Depending on like where everything shakes up, the NFL draft, whatever happens there, we'll see how it goes. So, but that's really how I feel about, you know,
This wide receiver class right now.
I mean, if not to say these, there's like wide receivers that'll produce. Like we'll talk about Embuka, and we talk about him being NFL ready. He's somebody you could draft and you could probably put up in his rookie year and give you some fantasy values. We'll see where he's falling in drafts, like where he's at, but it's not
Yeah.
a class. Like there's definitely been worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel the same way, but shoot, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get on to it. Talk about
Ah,
that tall ass, scrawny ass Tet McMillan,
yep.
6'4", 219. Go ahead and do your hosting skills, Matt. Tell me what you think.
Hey, I ain't even gonna try to pronounce his name. We just gonna roll with it and call him Tet McMillan, Arizona 6'4". And like, end of the year, if you were tanking for Genty and Tet McMillan. Those it was like pretty standard. That's what it is. So I've been reading around. I've been, I mentioned it just a couple seconds ago. A lot of people they trying to rank over Tet. Man, this is prospect fatigue. This one is right here because there's no doubt. I feel like there's no doubt he's number one in this class. I just think people are tired of they're diving into all the other wide receivers. They're finding out what they like, and you know I think Ted. If when I think about him, because a lot of people want to compare him to like the Drake Londons and
Yeah,
the
Mike
Mike Evans type.
Evans.
So I would say his ceiling to me would be like a top. If he got a good landing spot, would be like the top of tier 2. I don't know if I really see him being a tier 1 type guy. Some people see him being a freak, but some people like to. But I just think let's just hold up on the hate. Some people I saw one person have him ranked 4. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's just crazy. And pick
He,
up to kind of I want to pick up what you were saying too. Like the type of receiver he is, he would probably fit best at the top of that tier 2 because tier 1 is mostly you know, target monsters like Justin Jefferson, Amon Ra, CD, and then you get down to players like Tet McMillan, like Nico, Drake London, you know, Mike Evans during his career. I don't think Mike Evans, even when he was 24, was the number one receiver in dynasty rankings at any point in time. So,
no.
like, I think that's probably the ceiling is like a Nico, the way you're looking at him right now, and like Drake London, just the way he plays on the outside.
Yep. So I wrote down he produced 1,300 yards back-to-back seasons. He produced at Arizona, and
1,400 yards in 1 year. Yeah,
yes.
14. Yeah.
So versus
Just
Oklahoma, he had a big game versus Oklahoma. 10 receptions, 160 yards. So the dude can definitely explode, and size, route running. Yeah. The thing that I wrote down, I feel like these teams will love it. During that combine stuff, highest AIQ score among the wide receivers. Knows how to get open, that type of stuff. I feel like some of these teams value that type of
no
brain
shit.
stuff. The Patriots, you know what I'm saying? So he's number one to me, and I think the NFL is going to view him as number one too when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not going to try to be, brave and throw somebody else out there because I really do think that he is the best receiver in the class. I mean, we mentioned his college production, and it was just great throughout. He one game last year, he had 304 yards and 4 touchdowns in one game. It was against, I think, like New Mexico State or some shit, but still, there's not a lot of players can do that kind of stuff. But
Right.
what I got on him, I mean, he's obviously massive, long strides. You get down the field quick in a hurry. But one thing I did like is he can play. You can put him as like a big slot sometimes. Like he's not just limited to just throw him in the outside. Like the Buccaneers use Mike Evans in the slot a lot.
Yeah.
So I could see a world where a team, if they use him right, can kind of move him around the formation and stuff. But he's not necessarily like a yak type receiver. He's just, but I mean, if he gets the ball in open space, he can, he's gone. But I just really liked everything about his game. I didn't really see nothing that really, put me off on him. Like he's not like a quick twitch like slot guy or nothing like that. This is a outside receiver who's going to take the top off the defense.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think me and you, we're in agreement. Like, if agreement is a word, we agreed where we stand with Tet. I'm ready to move on to the next one. Unless you want to
Now, I
add
mean, I wasn't
anything.
gonna. No, I wasn't gonna say nothing more about Ted. I was just gonna say like one thing me and you don't really talk about much is like how good or bad wide receivers' hands are. Like if he's having a lot of drop passes, because I mean, I personally feel like it's something that like if you get open, that's number one. I mean,
Right.
there's a couple people in the NFL like Dontavian Wicks who can get separation and he can't catch the fucking ball, but you don't see it that often. Like QJ has that problem, but it's just not
Yeah.
something you look at. It's not something I really even look at when I'm looking at watching them on like the film. Is like all these players drop the ball every now and again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So Luther Burden, Missouri, 6 foot, 206, and really the main thing to say about this guy is Yak. It's all about Yak with Luther Burden, and heck, I actually like watching this film, and led the entire nation in missed tackles amongst wide receivers. So I thought when I was watching him, I was just thinking like the Rashi Rice type of player. That was my thing. Uh, Maybe a little more physical, but that was the
Well,
first thing
fast.
Yeah, look, that's what I was about to say. But yak ability, elite hands. You can you can get him involved in a run game. I feel like if a team wanted to use him like that. But yeah, I mean, what you think about him, Kraft man?
I mean, I liked him. I saw so usually I watch a player and then I'll go to uh, what the NFL like the scouts are going to say about him and kind of compare my notes to see if they think the same. And I saw they comped him to Garrett Wilson, and I was like, what? Garrett Wilson? Like I didn't really see Garrett Wilson in his game. Like he's more physical over the middle, but he's not a savvy route runner like Garrett Wilson is. But I really liked everything I've seen about him. But some of the stuff I got written down is obviously really good with the ball in his hands, yak type of guy. Um, I did see like when I was watching him, he's a shit talker, man. Like he plays with an attitude, like he's out there every first down. He's like all up in people's face, throwing the ball in people's face. Like I don't know. I might be totally wrong, but the couple games I watched, I was like, man, this dude is just he plays hard though. And he what I would have liked to see more is like some intermediate stuff, but their quarterback their
Yeah,
quarterback freaking sucks. He is the worst quarterback in football that I've ever seen.
yeah,
I'm being facetious, but he's pretty bad, and he got overthrown on a lot of his deep routes, and the way the offense was ran was just like it kind of reminded me of Zach Wilson and the Jets, where it was just like get the ball out quick, and his stats kind of show that. Last year he had 61 catches for 676 yards and 6 touchdowns, but in 2023, 86 for over 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. So I think he was just kind of limited in that offense and getting a little fatigued, getting a little tired of playing in that scheme.
yeah. I mean, that was one thing I wrote down right here to my left. Poor QB play. Some of these players, if you can't move the ball, it's just hard to produce. So I don't really hold that against Luther Burden. I think Luther Burden is pretty good. I've seen some debate lately though that he should be the wide receiver one. I don't feel that way about him, but I do feel like he's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, my comp for him was DJ Moore, but with less route experience. I mean, DJ Moore's been in the league for a while. He's gotten better as he's kind of progressed throughout his career. So he's not at that level of route running, but as far as like yak ability and just athleticism, he reminds me of DJ Moore a little bit.
Yeah, so heck, he's interesting where to rank with him because the next guy we're going to talk about, oh, the next guy we're going to talk about is what's his face, Emeka Egbuka. I hope I said that right. From Ohio State, 6'1", 202. Because to me, it's interesting where to rank these two guys, Luther Burden and Emeka Egbuka. And you could throw other wide receivers in the mix too that we'll talk about here in a sec. But to me, the thing with Mbuka, and me and you was talking about this before, and if you didn't know, Ohio State 6'1", 202 pounds. Um, we say this about a lot of Ohio State wide receivers, NFL ready. I remember when we was breaking down Chris Olave, it was like, yo, he's the most NFL ready among these guys. You could probably say this. We were probably saying the same thing about JSN, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like we're gonna say the same thing about Egbuka, and it's just the way they cycling in them wide receivers up there. I mean, they getting them ready up there. It's like Alabama when Nick Saban, some of those defensive guys. Some of them were the most NFL ready. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's how it is with Ohio State wide receivers. These guys are just NFL ready and ready to run, and to me, that has value when you do your rookie drafts because, I don't mind going and getting somebody like Egbuka, who I feel like in the right situation, I can go draft in the late in your super flex drafts. Probably, I'm just gonna say late first. I don't really know, but late first, and somebody I can just plug into my lineup in my flex and get me a few points in his rookie year. I find value in guys like Emeka Egbuka. I'm gonna just call him Egbuka, but route
Double
running,
E's.
yeah, man. The thing is with him is his route running, man, and that's what I'm talking about when he's NFL ready. The dude can get open, and he's good. I've seen some discussion for him to be number one. I don't think he should be number one. I do think there's arguments for him to be number two. But what do you think
Yeah.
about Egbuka?
I mean, I really got a soft spot for just route technicians in general. That's why I like Lad McConkey so much last year, and he's been outshined in at Ohio State. I mean, he played with Marvin Harrison a couple years, and then Jeremiah Smith, freaking beast out there, and he's kind of been the number two on his offense throughout his career. But I mean, this is where the NFL brain kind of overlaps the fantasy brain, because if I was a NFL team, I would love to draft Igbuka. But as far as fantasy goes, I think there's a limit on his upside, but I think he could be a definite like wide receiver two for a team that can just play in the middle of the field. I mean, I'm not gonna compare him to Amon Ra, but it's kind of like that a little bit when you watch him play, where he's always in the right spot. He dominates the middle of the field. He's killer against zone coverage, probably the best in this class against zone. But just raw athleticism, he's definitely not the most athletic guy. But I mean, he still ran like a 4.3 something in the 40. I mean, he's not slow. So I mean, I really like him. I think he's gonna be really good right away.
Yeah. Same thing we were saying about Olave and all them guys. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with it, and I don't really even have much to say about him. There's really not too much to say. Once you get past what he really is, he's just the safest as far as like NFL teams go. I feel like he's the safest wide receiver. I mean, this dude's definitely not busting. So
Yeah,
it just works out for those teams out there. If you're looking for a guy with a specific role, Egbuka can definitely fill that and fill it right away. And then in fantasy, I just like it because them guys with some safe floors, I find value
yeah,
in guys like that too. So,
yeah.
you know,
I mean, My high end comp to him was like Chris Godwin, and then low end was like, well, maybe not low end because he's still good. He just got paid, but it kind of works like Khalil Shakir does with the Bills.
Yeah. All right, then. Well, let's just move on to these next ones. Matthew Golden, Texas, 5'11", 191. Now he's the one who's really catching the hype train. I've been seeing him as number one. All four of the guys that we just talked about, I've seen people put arguments that he should be the number one wide receiver in this rookie class. You know, the thing with Matthew Golden, let's see. He ranked first in 20-yard receptions, so he had 23 over there with Quinn with Ewers. We got old Swizzy on the ones and twos in the building. Thing about him,
Chris?
What's up?
What you call it, can line up inside and outside. What you think about Matthew Golden?
Shoot, I liked him a lot. He's a raw talent. The only thing I didn't like is just I think he's gonna take a little time to develop when he gets into the league. Just by the way he plays. I mean, he really came on at the end of last year. Had a great game against Georgia. Had a great game against Arizona State. During the, I guess you call it the playoffs, but ran a 4.29 40-yard dash. I think that's kind of why everybody's ranking him up high because they're suckers for that 40-yard dash. But I got a couple things on him. Used a lot in the screen game, and they just made it a point to get him the ball around the line of scrimmage. His route running is just all right, but could definitely be better in the future. Hands are okay, but has some drops. And I don't know. I think he's going to be good with a little time. I think he's kind of like a Jaden Reed type player to begin. But maybe he can develop into a better route runner. And he's definitely got all the talent. His upside is tremendous, in my opinion.
So if you're in the rookie draft, how do you feel? Would you go Golden or Egbuka?
I mean, it's a cop out, but I would take what my team needs. Like if I wanted to take a shot on this guy's could be a wide receiver one, I would take Golden. But if I wanted some points in my lineup right away, definitely Egbuka. But Golden, I've heard a lot of stuff about pairing up with CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. Like that would be something if that happened.
Ooh, yeah. Jerry Jones might as well go ahead and make that one happen.
That ain't going. I can already tell you now that ain't going to happen if Jerry Jones has got to make it happen.
Heck, I mean, he likes flashy picks. If this one could be a little flashy for him, maybe he just killed the 40-yard dash, so he's got some headlines. Maybe Jerry Jones taking note of them headlines.
I'd love the pack to get him, man.
All right, well, Crabman, anything else you want to add before we move on to our final guy?
Nah, I think we covered him pretty good. I do like him though. Like he's probably wide receiver 2 or 3 for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think I got him 3 as of today, which ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely can't drop lower than 4 for me. You know what I'm saying? But
no.
All right, let's move on to the last one of the day. Tre Harris, Ole Miss, 6'2", 205 pounds. One thing I wrote down, he had that big game versus LSU because one narrative about him is good competition. He wasn't that good, and he does. And, in theory, he had a pretty good quarterback in Jackson Dart, who's in the NFL draft, who's at least a top 3 guy. I know he's gotten a lot of steam, so I did write down versus LSU. He had 7 receptions, 102 yards, and 1 touchdown, 17.2 yards per reception, but missed a lot of games. He was only healthy for 7 games last year. That's really the story on Tre Harris. So maybe that could be a reason why he's viewed a little bit lower than these guys or not. But, he was paired with a good quarterback. So no surprise that he's in conversations up here with these top guys like this. So, well, what say you, Crab Man?
I mean, I liked him. A decent bit. He's not in my top 3, but as far as the stats go, he is a senior, so he's a little older than the other ones. He's 23 coming out, so older than the other guys we talked about. But he had 60 receptions for 1,030 yards and 7 touchdowns. That averages out to 17.2 yards per reception. So you can kind of tell how he was used in college just by them stats. So, I mean, I think he's just kind of a contested ball guy, a little bit like Pickens, but not as good as George Pickens, more like Keon Coleman. But he got a lot of easy catches when he's just a straight up boundary receiver. I mean, he's playing at the X, he's playing outside. You can't move him in the slot. They never did at Ole Miss. So he gets a lot of curls, a lot of hitches on the outside for 5 or 6 yards. Not a whole lot of yards after a reception. Not a yak guy, but I mean, he's pretty talented. There's nothing super special about his game that I liked, except for his contested catch ability. So, I mean, he's all right to me. I feel like there's a lot of players in the NFL kind of just like him. My knock on him. It's like, I don't think he's going to be able to get open on a consistent basis against zone defense, which is what the NFL plays the most. Like I said, I'm a sucker for like wide receivers like Egbuka, and he's not like that. So, and he's just not a special talent to me in any other case. But I know a lot of people like him.
Yeah, nah, it's like you said. I mean, you just named a few of them, like Keon Coleman. Somebody we was talking about him just last year. George Pickens. Somebody we was talking about, 2 or 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now.
I feel like Pickens is more explosive though after the catch too, like and just better. You're not going to find a better contested ball guy than Pickens, really. So I wouldn't put him on that level. That's like the high end for me.
I'm sure
George Pickens.
I'm sure we'll talk about his ass in the next episode. That we finna drop tonight for your ass. But yeah, I mean, listen, man, I just think, I don't know, Craftman, if you would agree, but I just feel like, we talked about 5 guys tonight. Tre Harris is in a little bit of different tier than the other 4 we talked about tonight. And when we talk about these next 5, I might find that I like some of them guys more than I like Tre Harris. Tre Harris, he has a role for you in your fantasy teams and on your NFL teams, but what we're looking at here with a deep running back class, and then with some of these, like Ted McMillan and Embuka, what we're seeing from these guys, Tre Harris is going to be kind of like in that 201 range. Man, I'm just guessing. I don't even know. I really don't even know. I'm just saying 201 to high second.
Yeah, probably.
Because he'll probably drop in drafts with us. So, all right. Well, shoot, crap, man. What you say, man? Anything you want to add to the rookie class?
I mean, not really. I think Ted McMillan is probably your little golden child this year at receiver. Golden is kind of your swing. You might hit a grand slam, you might miss completely on Matthew Golden. That's going away a look. And then Egbuka's safe and not too high on Tre Harris. And what was the other one we talked about earlier? I missed one. I know I missed one.
Luther Burden.
Oh yeah, Luther Burden. Yeah, I like him. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be fine, but we'll see. We'll see where he goes.
Well, shoot, man, that about wraps it on up, man. These breakdowns, we've really been running 30 minutes. We stay true to that again tonight. 5 wide receivers. Check out our running back breakdowns, and then check out this part 1 wide receiver. We're going to do one more. And then we'll move on to other positions, but then me and Craftman, we're not going to forget about, there's definitely some names out there we hadn't touched on yet, but we ain't forgot about them. We're going to rake back through them, but we're just trying to get through a lot of positions while we at it, you know what I'm saying, and especially get these top guys through. Craftman, anything you want to add?
And we're doing our rookie draft like day after the NFL draft like we tried to do last year.
I feel like it just always works like that. Every rookie draft I'm part of, it just seems like it starts out of nowhere because we're just going to slow draft it. We can just slow draft it. You know what I'm saying?
No.
That's how I like it. I like it.
I hate the slow draft, man. I fucking hate it, dude.
Especially for a rookie draft. Like, it's only 4 rounds. Like, let's get to it. Let's do it. Like, if you want to make trades, I don't want it to be like 30 seconds, but maybe 5 minutes a pick where it gives people enough time to
I'm gonna give motherfuckers like 12 hours to make a pick. Like,
that's what makes it fun, ain't it, Chris? Like, that's what makes it fun. Is like
5 shits, take a whole sleep, go to work, and then he ain't even made his pick yet. Like, goddamn.
Y'all are saying some truths, because when we do those slow drafts, dude, I'm constantly maneuvering while those drafts are going on.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to make like moves and all kind of stuff. Yeah, like, what you want?
But those are smart trades. If you set it at like 5 or 10 minutes, like, people make dumb trades, and I love. It's kind of like the regular NFL draft where it's just like
put a little pressure on them.
I will say that, yeah, because if you allow the people, I honestly feel like that's benefited me, these long drafts, even though I don't like doing them. That allows me to talk, and I already got like 4 deals in place. It's just gonna set off like a cataclysm of shit happening and my team's gonna look drastically different, you know. Hey, I've only been in 3 championships in 3 years in a row, so I mean, you know.
Chris straight hops on and just starts bragging. He's like, "Oh,
I'm trash though. I'm washed now."
Yeah, I'm glad we got Swizzy back on. Heck, let's just end this episode, crap, man. Let's get to the stuff we really want to talk about. Listen, everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast. Hey, go to YouTube, hit that little bell up at the top right. Craft man, anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm good, man. Just appreciate everybody for listening and hanging with us. If you want to, get on YouTube, drop some comments on there so we can kind of, communicate with you guys and talk back and disagree or agree with your ass.
Because I'll be on that immediately. So yeah, everybody, thanks for listening. And those of y'all listen to the podcast, slide on over to YouTube too, if you don't mind. I mean, our bigger audience is with the podcast stuff, so if you want to slide on over to the YouTube side of things too, go ahead and do that. But with that said, we out.
Peace.